Announcing the arrival of Datuk Sri Lee Ka Chun, Special Investment Advisor to the Chief Minister of Penang and Invest Penang. Please be upstanding to welcome him. Can give a stronger clap? Oh my God. Stronger lah, stronger, stronger. Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. May I introduce myself again? My name is Lynn. I'm from Messe Worldwide. We are the representatives of the German exhibition called Hannover Messe here in Malaysia. It is the largest Industry 4.0 exhibition and has been established for the last 75 years. So any of you who have not been to Hannover Messe yet, give us a hello. Mr. Fong here, who is the CEO, is also here to welcome you. So without further ado, we would like to start with the welcome remarks from Sean of the SHIP campus. Come on stage.
Hi, good morning everyone. Okay, you all had your coffee and chance to makan already? All right, thank you. So some of you, this may be your first time to the SHIP campus. Welcome. For those of you who have been here more than once, welcome home. Okay. So my name is Sean. I'm head of the Entrepreneur Growth Hub, which is the co-working space and the startup incubator that we have just outside. So I was informed that I've only given 2 to 3 minutes to make my welcome speech today. So I do apologize in advance if I'm not able to capture all the VIP names in one breath, but it's okay, I will delegate that important task to my friend Darren Sia. All right, so without further ado, I'd just like to make for the benefit of those who is the first time here, just a quick introduction to the SHIP campus and also the Entrepreneur Growth Hub. So the SHIP campus is effectively a commercial and college precinct strategically located in the heart of Batu Kawan. We were built in the end of 2019 and opened our doors in early 2020. As you know, that timing wasn't the best lah. But anyway, we made do, and we were built using the campus in industry model. So meaning that, as most of you are aware, Batu Kawan is famous for semicon and medical devices. So other than KDU UOW down the road, Peninsula College, which is also a fully owned subsidiary of our PKT group, is the only tertiary educational institution within Batu Kawan. And our overarching objective is to be the central hub in Malaysia's northern ecosystem, to utilize academia and industry collaboration to help us solve some of the pain points and problem statements that are currently plaguing the industry. Among them, talent development, exhibitions, incentives, conferences, startup innovation, and also industrial training. So we have 3 campuses for our college side. As you can see, we've got the Lighthouse campus, I don't know whether you can see my pointer or not. In Shah Alam, we've got the central campus in Klang, and last but not least, we have the SHIP campus right here in Batu Kawan. So for the Entrepreneur Growth Hub itself, which is the business unit that I look after, it's a co-working space, but beyond that, we want to transform it into a startup incubator. So our vision is to be the central support hub for Malaysia's northern startup ecosystem. Those of you who are in startups, you know that there are only 2 ecosystems, one in Klang Valley and the other one in Penang. So the next one is to achieve Malaysian Digital Hub status by 2023. And just to share a bit about some of our current offerings, we've got a co-working space and meeting rooms, private and virtual offices, Angel and ECF funding options, business advisors. We've also got a part-time student workforce under our Jom Bekerja Sambil Belajar program, where basically we give our students the opportunity to have a real-world working experience and we pay them as well. And then, of course, monthly programs and networking events. Today's event will count as one of them. And last but not least, government support agencies. So we work quite closely with the likes of Digital Penang, Invest Penang, PYDC, and also MDEC. So I'd like to acknowledge our VIPs for today. We've got Mr. Fong from Mesa Worldwide. We've got Darren Sia from Constella. We've got Dato Sri Lika Chun from Invest Penang. We've got Jason Chia from PKT Logistics. We've got SJ Shankar from Madrid. And then you got Datin Lorella Chai, representing MEIF and Samantha today. So without further ado, I'd like to formally welcome everyone to the opening of the ITAP Voice of the Markets Malaysia Roadshow. Thank you for being here today. So I'd like to invite Darren.
Obviously, he's taller than me. In any case, I'd like to now extend a warm welcome to Darren Sia, who is actually the newest of our ITAP colleagues, as the Portfolio Director, Industrial Transformation Cluster, to welcome you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Darren Sia from Constella Exhibitions. Constella is the event organizer for Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific, which is a Hanover Messe event. I would like to thank Yang Muhammad Dato Sri Mustafa bin Muhammad, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, and Dato Sri Lee Ka Kun, Special Investment Advisor to the Chief Minister of Penang, for gracing us with their presence today. I would also like to thank PKT Logistics and the SHIP campus for sponsoring today's venue, and Mr. Jason Chia, Group COO, PKT Logistics Group, for being here with us today. Last but not least, thank you to Datin Lorella Chia and Mr. Jai Shankar and fellow distinguished speakers and guests for joining us here today. Today's session is actually part of a lead-up for Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific, Asia Pacific's leading I4.0 manufacturing event. Okay, ITAP 2022 creates opportunities for collaboration to overcome industry challenges. As a business event platform, ITAP aims to help companies understand the importance of Industry 4.0 in enabling effective and efficient work processes. ITAP 2022 has grown to be a strategic platform for manufacturers, technology providers, solution providers, and thought leaders to exchange ideas and best practices, build new networks, catalyze opportunities for innovation. ITAP was created not just as another trade event, but as a platform to shape the learning, development, and adoption for I4.0. As we move into our 5th edition, ITAP 2022 takes a deep dive into the trends and developments in 3 key dimensions: digitization, talent and workforce development, and environmental sustainability. These areas influence the magnitude of sustainable business development for advanced manufacturing and its related sectors, both locally, regionally, and globally. We are excited to share that ITAP 2022 will be held on 18th to 20th October in Singapore Expo. We are expecting more than 18,000 attendees to grace the event over 3 days, with more than 200 exhibiting brands. ITAP 2022 is designed as a transformation journey comprising of integrated on- and offline programs and activities for targeted audience groups. From curated guided tours offering a walkthrough of key highlights of the exhibition, to experience zones where attendees can experience hands-on I4.0 solutions and products, there is something for everybody to address their different needs, level of understanding, and adoption. Of particular highlight this year is the International Connect Zone, which we are particularly excited, with close to 10 country pavilions, including China, France, Germany, USA, Indonesia, and also a Malaysia pavilion supported by Madrid. in addition to this, we are also expecting business delegations from Europe and US, which will spur international business conversations to take place during the event. This year, we are also bringing back our hosted buyer program, where we will be inviting key decision makers for the manufacturing sectors to visit and network at ITAP. Hosted buyers will enjoy curated itineraries matching their business interests and site visits to I 4.0 enabled factories. You can find more information from the hosted buyer flyer from the reception outside. Focusing back to today's program, specifically curated for Malaysia's market, we have an exciting lineup covering I 4.0 adoption and key considerations of sustainability and talent development. We look forward to welcoming you to ITAP 2022 this October. Meanwhile, I leave you with this sneak preview of the event.
Thank you very much, Darren, for that interesting presentation. Fun fact, we have Vitrox here, who's actually already an exhibitor at Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific this year in Singapore. So Gary's over here. If you'd like to find out about his experience, feel free to speak to him. Also, another fun fact, most of our exhibitors who go to ITAP from Malaysia are actually from Penang. That's why we're here in Penang, to make sure that you are also clued in to why we're here at Penang, to bring you Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific Malaysia Roadshow. Without further ado, we of course have the keynote address by Yang Berbahagia, Datuk Sri Mustafa Min Mohamad. He sends his apologies, he has had to go to Parliament, but with that, we actually have a pre-recording from him.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam keluarga Malaysia. Yang bahagia Datuk Seri Lee Ka Chun, Special Investment Advisor to the Penang Chief Minister, Datin Lorela Chia, Vice President, Machinery and Equipment Industries Federation, Deputy Chairman of Sementar, Mr. Darren Sia from Constellar Holdings, Fong Chik Ying, CEO Messi Worldwide, Saudara Jai Shankar, Director and Sustainability Lead, Matrade. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by thanking the organizers for inviting me to speak at the Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific Voice of the Market's Regional Roadshow. I recall speaking at this event last year, and it is an honor for me to be back once again, especially since we can now meet in person. In early 2021, the government launched both the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint as well as the National Fourth Industrial Revolution Policy. While the blueprint is a roadmap towards becoming a high-income nation by accelerating digitalization in all aspects of the economy, the National 4IR policy will facilitate the embrace of new emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data, and blockchain in all aspects of our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to accelerate the development and adoption of these technologies, creating opportunities for growth and productivity that were unthinkable even just a decade ago. For this reason, I would like to focus on the fourth and final thrust of the National 4IR policy, accelerating 4IR technology and adoption, which I believe is especially relevant to this ITAP event. It is also important in realizing our high-tech and high-income agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian government is committed in creating a conducive ecosystem for the acceleration of this transformation. Earlier this year, we announced that we'll be establishing a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, an independent entity within the World Economic Forum. The establishment of this center, which is the first in Southeast Asia, will accelerate technology adoption and help secure more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable growth for Malaysia as the economy continues to recover. It is imperative to ensure that Malaysians from all walks of life are not left behind. Through the National 4IR policy and other policy frameworks, we have proven that we are able to provide the support needed to advance and innovate. The Center for 4IR epitomizes this, and I will give a few more examples. First, Khazanah's wholly owned unit, Malaysian Technology Development Corporation, has invested in Kuala Lumpur-based startup Poladrone Solutions. Poladrone aims to change the way that farms use pesticides with a combination of drones, automation, and analytics software. Second, Western Digital Corporation's factory in Batu Kawan Industrial Park in Penang is the first company in Malaysia to be admitted to the World Economic Forum's Global Lighthouse Network, which is a community of world-leading companies that have succeeded in the adaptation of the 4IR technologies at scale. Third, Ninja Van Malaysia's warehouses currently operate in a hybrid manual automated mode where employees work alongside machines. This initiative is highly welcome as the exposure to advanced technology will contribute towards a more competitive and productive labor force. Ladies and gentlemen, to demonstrate Malaysia's commitment to the demands of the future, My Digital Corporation was established to be custodians and integral drivers of the Malaysian digital economy blueprint and national 4IR policy. Among its tasks is to act as a secretariat to the National Digital Economy and the Fourth Industrial Revolution Council, as well as develop partnerships and collaborative initiatives between the public and private sector. In February this year, the National Digital Economy and Fourth Industrial Revolution Council, chaired by the Prime Minister, decided on several plans to empower new technologies to holistically drive the country's digitalization. Chief amongst these is a push to develop the National Robotics Roadmap to mainstream the use of robotic technology in the country. The Council also agreed to establish a My Digital Catalytic Project Task Force to select appropriate projects and facilitate public-private partnership implementation. To qualify, these projects have to be private sector owned and funded, utilize technology, and have the potential to transform their respective industries. Among the projects to be implemented under this initiative include smart health, smart manufacturing, and smart agriculture. Facilitating these projects is a strategic national imperative. Our hope is that more Malaysian companies will innovate and adapt to ensure their continued survival. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to urge our friends from abroad to continue exploring new ways of collaboration with the Malaysian ecosystem, whether through government or private sector partners. There's so much we can achieve by working together. Let me once again thank ITAP and other partners for supporting Malaysia's digital economy and the Fourth Industrial Revolution policy. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to YB for his speech. And we now have the next in line. Our next keynote address will be from Datuk Sri Lee Ka-chun, Special Investment Advisor, the Chief Minister of Penang, and also representing Invest Penang. A little bit about Datuk Sri. He is a Director of Invest in Penang Berhad, Penang Development Corporation and Penang Hill Corporation, and is actively involved in deciding policy direction of these government-linked corporations for the state of Penang since 2008. We also go way back, and he's visited our shows before in Germany. And without further ado, we welcome him on stage.
Thank you very much, Lynn, my long-lost friend I haven't seen her for, I think, over the past 10 years. Yes, then Yang saya hormati Encik Shankar, that is a director and sustainability lead of Matrade. Datin Lorella Chia, that is a vice president one of Machinery Plus Equipment Industry Federation and the deputy central chairman of the Small and Medium Enterprises Association, Samantha. Yang saya hormati Encik Darren Sia, that is the portfolio director of Industrial Transformation and organizer of Industrial Transformation Asia Pacific 2022. And Mr. Fong Chit Ying, Mr. Jason Chia, distinguished speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everybody. First of all, it is my great pleasure to be here with all of you today for this Voice of the Markets Regional Roadshow, Malaysia 2022. Let me first thank the organizers for this invitation. The roadshow's theme of Industry 4.0 Forum, expediting Malaysia's manufacturing ecosystem with I4.0 solutions, speaks to our aspiration today in Penang. 2022 is a year of a celebration for Penang, as it marks the 50th anniversary of industrialization in the state, and to a certain extent in the country as well. Dubbed as the Silicon Valley of the East, Penang's solid reputation is built on 5 decades of industrial excellence and technical experience. Our successful transformation has translated into far-reaching effects on the local economy in terms of moving up the value chain, uplifting the skill set of the local workforce, as well as having significant economic spillover and multiplier effects to the local economy as well as to the national economy. Despite being the second smallest state in the country in terms of landmass, Penang continues to punch above its weights. Some of the statistics, for example, Penang is one of the country's key focal points for investment inflow and external trade. We are consistently the top foreign direct investment recipient state and biggest export contributor among the states in Malaysia. Globally, Penang has been making a name for itself. The state commanded over 5% of the global semiconductor sales and is also a key regional hub for equipment and medical technology industries. Proudly, Penang proposition in the global value chain is no longer restricted to back-end activities, but we are an emerging hub for IC design, IoT solutions, and R&D. And during this time of a pandemic, actually the Penang's export have supported Malaysian economy as well. All of the electronics export, which is the largest export in terms of composition for Malaysian export, we contributed nearly 60% of that particular composition. So you can see that even during the pandemic, if without this E&E export, Malaysia will suffer tremendously if not because of the support that we have in Penang. So what I've shared with you has been about the 50 years ago, we embarked upon this industrialization, and also share with you what is currently we are enjoying the fruit of the past 50 years. But the most important thing is that we have to look forward. What is going to be the next 50 years? Actually, the last 50 years and the forward 50 years, it is not going to be the same. For one, whatever we achieve in the past 50 years, you would not need to have that 50 years to achieve that. I think because of the technology cycle, shorter cycle, I would expect that the changes that happen in the last 50 years will happen less than 10 years from now on. So this is the challenges that we have to look into. But the challenges for us as a state as well as a country are twofold. One is external, one is internal. If you look at the external, you can see that One is a globalization that we are used to, low interest rate regime that I think all of you young generation are used to for all these years is going to change. Globalization going forward is going to be more and more regionalized. The reason is because of the geopolitical situation is changing. All this will have impact on what we are doing today. Of course, globalization turning to regionalization, the supply chain disruptions, etc., it presents to us challenges because cost of doing business has gone up. But at the same time, it has presented to Penang industry, and I think to Malaysia as well, with many opportunities as well. The reason is very simple. In the globalized world, some of the business alliance that has been built upon was so concretized that Penang and Malaysia would not be able to break into if not because of the hiccup and all the changes that has happened. So as a result, with the maybe the end of globalization, Penang is able to break into this new supply chain that has been created. Though these are the opportunities for us. So of course, the next thing is that when we talk about Industry 4.0, it is a plus as well as it can be a boon as well as can be challenges for us. The plus side is that as long as we are in the supply chain, we have to move up the value chain. We have to go into Industry 4.0 in order to tap on the vast opportunities that are being created. But the downside is, with the regionalization, people are looking at, instead of offshore manufacturing, people are looking at nearshore or onshore manufacturing for various reasons. One is because of security. The other one is, of course, in terms of a supply chain, is more secure. So with that in mind, when you move into Industry 4.0, then the next thing is that, why should I do my manufacturing in Malaysia? Why can't I do manufacturing in Europe and manufacturing in the United States? Because you have eliminated one of the major cost factor in manufacturing with Industry 4.0 to a certain extent. So in time to come, the challenges can be that I can manufacture in US, I can manufacture in the European countries, and I don't have to manufacture in a cheaper location anywhere else in the world. So this is something that we have to be mindful of. I'm not saying that you should not get into Industry 4.0. That is a must, you have to get in. But at the same time, you must look beyond your shore in order for you to establish yourself nearer to your customers in time to come. That is the external factors. Internally, I think we have to actually review our strategy as well. It is always good for people to talk about high-income economy, high-income job, etc., etc. Who will give you the high-income job? It is not God sent. People will not give you the high-income job if you are incompetent, if you are inefficient. So the next challenge that we have internally is that we have to continuously invest in our educational system. You can only create high-income job when your knowledge is better than others, the working regime is better than others, the understanding of the economy as well as the technology is better than others. So we are talking about today, maybe Malaysia is exporting finished product. Tomorrow, you will be thinking of how do you export your services instead of a product in the changing world. So for example, you want to go into IR 4.0, The reason is you think that you can use yesterday's knowledge in order to run your IR 4.0? Do you think that you will be able to use yesterday's knowledge in order to run AI? It will not. So that is where we need to invest in knowledge. In order, once you have the knowledge, then only you can talk about high income economy. Then only we can continuously stay ahead to maintain and expand whatever we have today. If not, then of course you are going to face with all these challenges. The other challenge internally is that Industry 4.0. In order to do transformation, there are two things that we have to think about. One is that the mental block that we have, especially for the SMEs. Now, going forward, SME will be very difficult to survive if you don't tap on the supply chain. In order to tap on the supply chain, then you have to work on adopt Industry 4.0. But in order for you to do that, there must be a desire by the SME in order for them to, first, to acquire the necessary knowledge. Second is that to take out money in order to invest in their business in order to move into Industry 4.0. So in order to do that, all of us have to help them. And if you are an industry, then of course you have to think about this. Otherwise, you will be marginalized and you will be eliminated from tomorrow economic progress. So these are the challenges Malaysia as a whole we have to face, and this is also the issues as far as we in Penang is concerned, we have to face. So when you talk about the past 50 years, the glory that you have, right? But for you to look forward, there are plenty of opportunities that we can tap on, but at the same time, there are plenty of challenges staying ahead as well. So if you don't recognize it, then we will be in for a very, very difficult time. So today we are here. We are very fortunate. You look at whatever we have today, it is because of yesterday's planning. This is part of industrial park planning, and this is part of the why we have this the SHIP campus. I'm not promoting the SHIP, but this is part of the state initiative for why we have this the SHIP campus and this university. The reason is because the state was planning to invest in education. Because when we plan the industrial park, we look at the industrial park, what do you need? The need then was that I need the people in order to sustain the industrialization in Penang. So that is why we have this particular campus in order to train the next generation of our talent. Then of course across the street we have also KDU. So as far as the industrial development is concerned, you have to have a holistic and a total solution. That means you have the factory in order to provide employment, in order for the factories to pay our people so that they can sustain the economy. But at the same time, you have to look at the next 5-10 years. Who are you? What do you have in order to run the factories? So the SHIP campus as well as the KDU, Wollongong University is a part of this bigger effort by the state in order to support the continuous industrialization of Penang. So once again, I would like to thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity to be with you this morning, to share with you some of the thought of going forward as far as the state is concerned. Once, thank you very much, the organizer, and thank you very much to all the ladies and gentlemen that are taking time to be with us this particular morning. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Datuk Sri. Okay, so we come to the next segment, which is actually a very interesting panel discussion. A lot of you have questions about Industry 4.0, whether it's sustainable for your back end, whether you want to spend 100,000 ringgit or 20,000 ringgit. This panel discussion will talk about that. As we move certain things onto the stage, I would like to first introduce our moderator, Mr. Yap Keng Teck of BizSphere Marketing. He is actually simultaneous with the word Industry 4.0 back in KL, and I think all over Malaysia right now, as he champions MPC's events as well together with SHRDC, who we have also a representative here. Alongside him, we have 4 very distinguished speakers. Mr. Jason Chia, Group COO of Piketty Logistics Group. Mr. Chong Soon Keng, CEO of Switchbridge Technologies. Mr. J. Shankar, Director and Sustainability Lead, Oil and Gas, Chemical and Energy Section of Matrade. So those of you who want to join the Matrade booth can speak to him. Sorry, have to interject. And Mr. Tan Chun Sing, Group Vice President and General Manager of ST Microelectronics. As we move all this up, and some of you I know would like to go and have a little bit of a bathroom break, maybe now you would like to do so as we then get this all up and running. And then after that, see you guys back here in 5 minutes. Ladies are on the left, or my left, your right. Men are on my right. And ladies are always right, as according to Sean. May I invite the speakers up on stage as well, as you can see, based on the names that I've projected on the screen. So you can actually refer to them in person as well. How many of you are curious whether Industry 4.0 is actually sustainable? Can I have a show of hands? Wow, not sustainable. This is not good. Okay, 1. Anybody else? To say that Industry 4.0 is sustainable for your company, whether back-end or front-end? Any thoughts whatsoever? No thoughts? Okay. Guys, we need this to be interactive. So when there's a Q&A session, I hope some of you would actually ask questions. I hope. If not, I'll be the one asking all the questions. Jay knows I'm a very curious person, so he's going to be bombarded, I think. All right, so without further ado, we are very, very happy to have everyone here today. I know it is a very interesting morning already. So we will first start off with Mr. Yap Keng Teck, and then after that, proceeding on with the rest of the panel. Thank you very much, Mr. Yap.
Good morning. Everyone in from the toilet break? Shall we wait or shall we start now? Okay, we shall start now. Okay, thank you for coming for today's so-called the forum or dialogue. Now, Industry 4.0 has been the talk of the town for, well, the last few years since the Malaysian government launched the Industry Forward initiative in 2018. And there are approximately about 50,000 manufacturers in Malaysia. And of course, most of the advanced one will be in Penang over here. And among that, from the report that I get, yes, we know that the government have a lot of initiative to encourage and motivate the companies to embark into the smart manufacturing journey. And one of it is the Industry Forward Readiness Assessment Program. By right now, there are approximately 1,200 companies which has been assessed by professionals on where they are, whether the opportunity or the gap towards the Industry 4.0. And among them, these 1,200, about 220 companies, which is supported by the Industry Forward Intervention Fund, which they will get up to a grant of the 500,000 ringgit. So the number of the participation in the program is encouraging. It's a good start, but I believe that there are more companies should be embarking into this smart manufacturing journey with Industry 4.0. Now the thing is that in Malaysia, we're always very good in starting new initiative. Well, whatever digitalization, Industry 4, ESG and so forth. Yeah, let's go for it, let's go for it. But the thing is that two things that we need to consider. Number one, is your effort sustainable or not? Who is accountable and whether your effort is sustainable or not? Number one. Number two is that when you embark into this journey, is it sustainable for your business or not? There must be a purpose for you to embark in smart manufacturing. It's not only about that, it's to improve your productivity of your factory. It's about a strategy that brings your company to the next level. So today what we are going to talk about with the panelists over here, we're going to talk about how, who will be accountable for this journey and what can we do to make this project a sustainable one so that your business will be sustainable as well. Okay, now on my right over here, we have Jason. Okay, Jason will be from the PKHD Logistics. So basically, thank you very much, Jason, over here. Next time, I would like to help a lot of events over here. Jason, he has a vast experience in the manufacturing sector, so he knows about manufacturing. And right now, in this logistic value chain, so basically the whole value chain about manufacturing, he knows A to Z. Then we have Mr. CS Tan. CS Tan is the GM for the ST Microelectronics. We have some conversation, and ST Microelectronics is a semiconductor company in Muar. I said, wow, Muar, I never heard of Muar got semiconductor industry. I only heard of Muar of furniture. But they have been established there for a very long time. And Mr. CS Tan has been spearheading the Industry 4.0 and the Lean Management Initiative in his company. And of course, we have Mr. SK Chong. SK Chong is the CEO of the Swift Bridge Technology. They are into the radio frequency high precision cable. Okay, very technical to me, very technical to me. But the good thing is that they are just an SME, but they have the Center of Excellence over here in Penang, as well as the research and development facilities in Oregon in USA. Not many companies are able to do that. Okay, very proud of the Malaysian SMEs over here. And of course, last but not least, my very good brother over here, Shankar. He's the very long title, Director and Sustainability Lead of the Oil and Gas, Chemical and Energy section. Basically, a lot of things under his hand. Okay, very, very busy man over here. So he has been as the Trade Commissioner from various countries, from Bangkok and so forth. When I know him, he was just editor then. So he knows how to articulate a lot of stories out. Okay, so later on, we see how we articulate our discussion later on. Now, today, what I wanted to start off is that we are talking about sustainability. I want to throw this question to the panelists over here, a general question that each and everyone help to answer. Now, when we embark into the smart manufacturing journey, okay, there are a lot of resources needed. We need people. Just now, Dr. Sri has mentioned talent, very, very important. The process, the technology, as well as, for a lot of SMEs, especially funding. So, all this would include also the business strategy, which many of the SME was not aware that, hey, what does this Industry 4 have relation with business strategy? I thought it's about technology. But indeed, it is more of a business strategy than a technology advancement. So we need a lot of the resources to go through this whole journey. Now, but how many of us over here have all these resources in hand. So my question for the panelists over here is that, should we actually start the industry forward, the smart manufacturing journey, only when we have all these resources together? Or if we have some but not the other, we need to start immediately? And how do we do that? Maybe we start with Jason. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the SHIP campus. And thank you, Kente, for your question. So I would say that it's a mixture of both. Why I say so is that, for a start, definitely people. When you mentioned just now, it's a 4M resources, is related to man, method, machine, you know. So people definitely have to start somewhere. Within your group, you need to have like certain people to go out, to scope out this new knowledge, bring it back, and share it to the team, and infuse it to their existing process and product, okay? So people definitely is something that you have to prepare upfront. May it be someone from your existing team, or may it be the whole team itself, depend on your strategy. So like whole team means that the whole department, let's say you are in, IT, for example. So while they are working on their production issue, they settle, there may be a gap in time whereby they need to go out and explore for this new knowledge, and then come back and infuse it. And come to the second part. Back 5 to 6 years ago, I would kind of agree to that. When everyone wants to invest in this IR 4.0, there is a need for the machine to be changed, a lot of things to be upgraded, and then process have to change. But now no longer the truth. In fact, I just came back from Germany 2 weeks ago to attend one of the IR 4.0 training myself as well. So now the IR 4.0 development, they have reached certain maturity standard in terms of their standard for machine-to-machine communication. All we need right now is some sensor and IoT gateway. In fact, you no need to have to change whatever your existing machine or your process. You just need some gateway and sensor. You actually can retrieve real-time data from this machine. And after you got this data, it depends on you, on how are you going to react to this data. What are you going to make an improvement to the upstream process or downstream process? So I would say that with the current cost of this IoT sensor also getting down, SME that intend to invest in this technology no longer have to spend a lot of money or change whatever they have on hand right now. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good morning everyone. I think the volume is a bit, the gain is too loud. Okay, certainly, high gain. Yeah, certainly good. Okay, so Industry 4.0 still needs a lot of work. Okay, it's certainly good to be back in Penang. Actually, I was born in Penang, I worked in Penang, I studied in Penang. I think I'm going to die in Penang as well. So definitely, yeah, I'm a Penang boy. Although I'm working in Muar, Johor, throughout my career, I've gone downwards, down south, right? So coming back to the question on Industry 4.0, we have to be actually very careful. Industry 4.0 means a lot of things to different people. So before we embark on this journey, I would suggest that you understand first what are your gaps and the whys. Why do you want to do this? Okay, if you want to do this to save cost, you're going to be disappointed. It's actually more expensive to do in the short term to do cost savings with Industry 4.0. If you want to do this to reduce headcount, again, you might be disappointed. Okay, just for your information, the semiconductor industry has been on Industry 4.0 for many years, many years. Most of my machines are automated. I have one operator running 30 machines. You can see the production floor, one operator will be lonely walking around. All machines are green running, but I still have 4,000 people in my factory, right? So you're going to be disappointed as well. But if you embark on Industry 4.0 for reasons of improvement, optimization, I think you're going to gain some things there. So it's important to understand the gaps, what it means to you, and what are you looking for? Why do you want to do this? Right? So I would suggest look at optimization, because as Jason mentioned, in the Western countries, especially in Germany, Industry 4.0 is not about automation, it's about getting better, optimize your process, achieving the 100% yield, these kind of things. Right. Thank you.
CK?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm SK from Swissbridge Technology. So I actually stand on the SME point of view to look at this Industrial 4.0. The most important, a lot of SME having a misunderstanding on this Industrial 4.0. Okay, like what Mr. Tan just mentioned, it will give you a lot of surprises when you come in. You think that all these things will come back to you, which eventually is no. To me, as an SME, why I go into the Industrial 4.0, basically I'm looking to what they call the data. How I'm going to collect data, and then from the data, we able to see where are we, which area we need to enhance, improve. Like I putting my company into certain phases. The first phases I'm coming to is the ERP system, okay? And in terms of the people, the most important for the SME is the owner for the company or the stakeholder for the company. You yourself must understand what you need and what you want to achieve for this Industrial 4.0. And you yourself must understand before you dedicate to your next level, the execution part. Is it? So, for my company, I involve all the stages that to make sure those implement the dedicate my first layer of the management, they also need to understand. For owner, we have to be very transparent. So, SME owner, you must be ready to make your information transparent. This is where the SME, a lot of SME having problem to be transparent. Okay, once you break through all this transparency, mean your first layer, they know what you want to see and what you want to achieve by implementing the, what they call the Industrial 4.0. It's talking about data collect information for you. Like my current HR system is fully automated, just in the mobile app. All the operator, the worker, whatever HR related information, they just on their handphone, everything is down there. At the same time, we able to study from the data we collect, the individual staff, their behavior. And then from there, we make a study. What can we help? In terms of this, what they call the resources performance, what can we chip in or provide more training to all this? Because we have to have all this data. Without this data, we don't know. When come into issue, then only to jump in, but too late. So to me, I4 basically is talking about collect data, analyze, and then we take action in advance. Thank you.
Thank you, Kente. Thank you, fellow speakers. Morning, salam sejahtera. My name is Shankar. I'm from Madrid. Most of my speakers have touched a lot of different aspects of the issue and very fascinating. I will see it from on a more broader level. One of the things that Dr. Sri mentioned just now was the changes in the model. And I got to be very careful saying here, most of you are manufacturers, but inevitably this is how things are moving. Manufacturers have to be service providers, right? There is today a remaking of your relationship with your buyers, your vendors, however you may say it. Yeah, and that facilitation can only come about if you have capacity and technology related to Industry 4.0. And this is not a new journey. Those who are probably in the 50s can probably remember a little project in 1995 called the Multimedia Super Corridor. A long time ago, something of that was launched. The logic of it was simple at that point of time and remains viable at this point of time. It's basically the remaking of the Malaysian economy. And for the longest of time, we have been stuck in a very old method, manufacturing mode of thinking and behaving. And when I say thinking and behaving, this is crucial. Because one of the things that we find, and I'm sorry for saying this, but SMEs are not behaving as world-class organizations. Right? For the longest of time, and if we can understand this why, because inevitably the economic cycle was such that when we started servicing the MNCs and so on and so forth. Fair and good. But today, we cannot be rooted in that same logic. For Malaysian economy to grow and thrive and prosper, we need to remake not only our business processes, but up here, the thought processes. And that is why you should not even question the logic of Industry 4.0. It is an inevitable process as you remake your business model and how you engage and become an integral part of the global supply chain. The global supply chain is going to run away. For the longest of time, our participation in global supply chain was rooted on FDIs. Now that FDI, as Dr. C was also mentioning very, very eloquently, is that is moving away, right? And when that moves away, you can't be chasing it. You can't. What you got to do is you got to put yourself in a very meaningful position. Either you are innovating and from a product and services point of view, or you're behaving like a global organization. And if you do, then you will see the inherent logic of why you need to invest in Industry 4.0 technology and all that. How you do it, that's up to you, right? The pace of your transformation is dependent on the sustainability of your business. And that is where the question is very interesting. I was asking Kente, why did you pick a question? And he replied, and I see the logic of that question. Because your business sustainability today, the window for you to sustain your businesses is getting smaller and smaller. So anybody who thinks that they have time to transform themselves, bad news, you don't. There's a lot of mega trends that's coming on for, right? So these gentlemen are doing well. I'm sure a lot of you all are doing well as well, but the pace has to pick up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shankar. Can you hear me? Yes, sir? Okay, now, the thing is that, can you increase the volume, please? My voice is loud enough, it's okay. Now, the thing is that, just now, CS and also CK, you mentioned that, wow, when you want to invest in the Industry 4.0, don't expect things to come back so fast, okay? Don't expect that you have a lot of savings, that you reduce people and so forth. But the thing is that, right now we are in the journey embarking into smart manufacturing Industry 4. If we can't sustain the effort, because if I can't reap the benefit within 1 year or 2 years, especially the SMEs over here, they won't be able to continue such investment. The investment is not only about money, it's about the time, the resources, the people. So how can they actually sustain the project? Yes, you say that 5 years, 4 years, then you can have the benefit come back, but I don't think SMEs can sustain that 1 or 2 years. So what should they do right now, or what should they emphasize so that they can sustain that? So right now, what we're going to do is that I'm going to hold the mic right here by myself. 4 of them going to have the mic shared. And we are going to debate about all these issues fast one, so that we would be able to give the answer to most of the manufacturers over here, how to deal with it. Let's start with CS. Come. I'm going to challenge every one of you.
Okay, I'll just give you the simple mathematics.
Yep.
In my company, we have actually automated or robotized all the material movement. And so we have 14 AGVs running around the factory moving material. So material movement is robotized. 1 AGV on the average, and we buy Malaysian, we buy from Johor. It's a company in Johor. 1 AGV on average is 75 to 80,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Okay.
You are scaring the SMEs away.
No, I'm telling you the mathematics.
Yep.
If I do the ROI, I was telling my finance guy, I can hire operators to carry all these things. But in terms of ergonomics, AGB is much better. They don't get sick, right? They don't have backache. They don't have unions.
Correct.
No medical leave, no maternity leave,
Yep.
anything. Okay, so that's the mathematics. So, like I said, if you just look at purely from ROI standpoint, you will never get it. You will never get it, right? But coming back to SMEs, I would say that maybe the focus of SMEs should not be about all these fancy things. Start by linking your machines, collecting data automatically, right? Those can be done relatively, low cost, but many SMEs are actually not doing it, We have many suppliers. What we want to be able to do is we want to link from their CMM into my IQC database so that they don't need to send paper and all these kind of things. Simple things like this. And even in ST, we have started doing this. We have 4,000 over machines, and many of them are not talking to each other because of different protocols, different manufacturers. So we can get service providers. In fact, some of my guys are here. Our suppliers doing the interface for the machines. Linking machines is actually part of Industry 4.0. So don't be too narrow focused thinking that Industry 4.0 is about robots running around. If you think about that, your ROI, like I said, it's better to hire an operator.
Before we continue, can I have a show of hand of how many of you are SMEs still? Can we have a show of hand? Those who are not putting up your hand, meaning that you are the MNCs or the big one. So SMEs, please, show your hand, please. Nearly half or majority of you. Okay, now, SwiftBridge is an SMEs. I want you to share. You see, embarking into this such effort, you need a lot of resources, and you're already in the process of doing it and benefiting from it. How do you gather all these resources together? Maybe you can share your best practices to them.
Wow. Hello. Yeah, wow. To me, to embark into this Industrial 4.0, eventually I not really increase my resources.
Okay. Good news?
Yes. I put it into the several phases, what I, as a company owner, what I need. And then I put it into the first priority, and then we move into that. So for me, I put into my ERP, become the first priority. Because from the ERP standpoint, ERP can do many, many things. Is it like what Mr. Tan mentioned, to connect with my customer? That's important.
But SK, the ERP, a lot of people would think that ERP is IT, it's nothing to do with Industry 4.
No. The most important to SME, ERP is very important to you, especially those in manufacturing sector. You know why? First, the inventory management, the production planning management, and also your resources planning management. All this, you don't expect using Excel to continue count. Let system do the work. And from the system, you have a lot of data. Just analyze the data. Where is your weak point?
Yeah,
Improve that, your efficiency eventually will go up.
A lot of times, we have a very good ERP system, whether it's a local one or foreign one and so forth. But all this ERP system would need data to populate,
Correct.
to have data to populate so that you can make use of it. But many of the SMEs who the industry forward that we review and so forth, they don't even have data available. It's all still in Excel sheet.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, when I start a company, of course, Excel cannot run away. I mean, on 2019, when I start bucking into this Industrial 4.0, I know what I want. Because 90% of my business is export to US. If I don't embark into this, you know why? The data will come in from US, from different areas with my customer. All the paper, how many people you're going to hire?
Yeah.
And now, all their PO stream go to our system. And I will respond back to the system. They link, like what Mr. Tan mentioned. Because they are all the big MMC. And this is also what they call value to those SME. if you're able to connect with them?
Now that I would need to ask Jai over there. Now, the thing is that just now, SK mentioned that you have that data and you are able to do better business with the global supply chain. Now, you are in Madrid, Jai. How important is this Industry 4.0 in relation to the global market demand? Okay, would we as the manufacturer have added advantage to export our services or manufacturing products with Industry 4.0? What are the global demand in terms of data from our local Malaysian manufacturers?
Thank you. Madrid has 46 offices worldwide, yeah? And it's for us to get a lot of information, and the demand information is very clear. Today, as mentioned just now, they expect Malaysian SMEs to have a global operations. And the heart of any global operations is data, right? And when you start remaking your business model, transforming yourself to pure play manufacturer to more of a services-oriented company, where you are more participative in that supply chain decision-making. For example, not only manufacturing, but you're also moving to design, collaborating on ideas and so on. That can only happen if you have sufficient data, right? And they are convinced and confident that you can hit your production milestones. For that to happen, they need to have data transparency. So I think that confidence level sometimes is lacking when we bring some companies over who have never been in the global space. So if we have that, our job of trying to bring companies over will be a lot easier. Swiftbridge was a great example of a company a couple of years back, in 2013, stepping into the US market without any exposure to the US market. But what he had was a global mindset and a global operations as it was. So taking him and marketing him into the US market made it a lot easier because they speak the same lingo. The first barrier is they don't associate us with high-tech and global operation. That was our barrier. But once we managed to come across that, then once they start talking to somebody like him, they realize, wow, I'm talking to a CEO of a global operation, though he's sitting somewhere in Malaysia. And that breaks the barrier. So it's really, really crucial for us.
Yeah, so you see that the Industry 4.0 is not only about the productivity of your factory, it actually helps you into the marketability of your business as well. So imagine that if you go for exhibitions and so forth, I want to have an order of the 2 container by this date and so forth. Are you able to supply or not? Most of the SMEs will say that, okay, I go back to my country, I check with my accounts, my factories, then only I reply you whether I can supply to you. By then, you might have lost your business opportunity. Okay, that is very important. Then come to people side. Now, the thing is that, just now we mentioned that people is very important. Well, you have the technology, we have a local service provider, we have the foreign one, we have advanced technology. But the thing is that, my people over here, my uncle in the factory, my senior supervisor, and my foreign workers over there, then it's already very complicated, very hard for me to train these people already, presently. Right now, we are talking about high-tech, about Industry 4.0. How are we going to get our people ready? Jason, you might to share.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, right?
Yes.
So I think just now CS mentioned the technical aspect of it, and SK mentioned about the ERP, which is the heart of your manufacturing, and also Jaika mentioned about data. Now I will touch base a bit about emotional aspect. Okay, for this to success, at the back of it is the people, yourself, and also your staff, right? So how you go about it? So I share some example on how we go about it. Okay, we utilize social media. Facebook? We create a Facebook, close Facebook group. Okay, across PKT operation from East Malaysia to West Malaysia, from north to south, from manufacturing, from logistics solution, transport, all the way. All the operation member is part of the Facebook group. Okay, so because to implement this IR 4.0 is a journey by itself. It's a continuous improvement. Okay, sometimes we term it as a Kaizen. Okay, so everybody is they need a community to support, to discuss each other. What is a better solution than Facebook? It's free after all. So what we think is that everyone that have an idea, we have a standardized template inside the Facebook. What they need to do is to highlight what is the problem statement, what they intend to do, what is the saving they intend to achieve. And everybody from top management is part of the Facebook member as well. We give comment, we give feedback, and some of them already implemented. Then we will, even the finance team is also there. So we will decide what is your soft saving, what is your hard saving. Okay, if you have hard saving, that would be good. Hard saving means that you can save on your number of people, you can save on number of space, and at the same time, when they achieve some kind of this hard saving, we do some celebration. Small celebration is very important to keep the momentum going. People will encourage to keep on doing, find out new idea. How are they going to get this IR 4.0? What kind of solution? So they have the initiative. So celebrate small win is very, very crucial.
So you mentioned that, so this is that, what you mean is that to get this Industry 4 journey to be smooth implementation, we need the whole organization to be involved.
Yes, because IR 4.0 involve changes. Okay, people tends not to like changes, like what you mentioned. When we started into this journey, the warehouse operator will tell you, says that, sir, I have been working on this operation day in and day out for the past 10 years. Nothing broke. Why change?
Yeah, correct. Why change?
Why change?
I believe a lot of your factory manager or supervisor say the same thing to you.
Why change? So, first is to break the barrier. So need to explain to them, need to show example to them. And that's why, what is the better way to communicate with all of them? We talk. PKT, we always use Facebook. We are a Facebook compulsory company. Why not we use Facebook? Everyone in the community, everywhere across this region, they can see anybody that have implemented some improvement, they can copy it if they going to work for their operation, right?
Yep.
Or someone says that, hey, you have a better way to do this, why not you try this? Or top management sometimes can come in and chip in and say, give them some motivational work, or give them some idea. So it's very important to stay in touch and keep continuously communicate with your people closely to maintain the sustainability or momentum.
So meaning that, you see, a lot of the companies, when they embark into the journey of the Industry 4.0, most of the time, from my understanding, is that the factory manager, sometimes even the boss also not involved, not to mention the accounts and the other division, but you involve everyone. Okay. Now, SK shared with me something that he drives the whole Industry 4 initiative. Okay, back to SK before I come to CS. Now, the thing is that driving it, we need the champion, and you are the champion of the company. What if a company start the Industry 4.0 journey and the boss is not involved and it is driven by the factory manager? Would that be sustainable?
Well, I think for the MMC, I let Mr. Tan to answer.
Yep.
For the SME, to embark into the Industrial 4.0, the stakeholder, you must drive and you must give a very clear what are you looking forward to achieve when you implement this. You cannot just, okay, this is Industrial 4.0, go ahead and run, and then you go attend training, or blah, 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 blah. When these people all been trained, come back. What should I do? Correct. If I myself involved into this, I was telling them, I'm going to achieve, I'm going to look into the dashboard, this one. The operator inside the production, daily output, monthly output, this is all their incentive, you know. Last time, you don't have all this display into the production. And now, they know, hey, I still short how many? I want my incentive, achievement, all these things. Automatically, they will know what to do. You see? That's why we have to drive ourselves, or we dedicate down to the first layer of the management, very clear. What are you trying to achieve?
Okay.
And
so,
when you all this clear label, eventually your first layer of your management, they know how to drive to achieve what you're looking forward. And
okay.
this we are able to sustain.
Yeah. You want to add on?
Yeah, I'd like to add on. I think SK brought out a very good point. In fact, few months ago, I came across a report from MOSTI, Ministry of Science and Technology.
Okay.
It's actually a biannual national survey of innovation. They approached us for this national survey of innovation as part of the services sector. But of course, manufacturing is the key one.
Yep.
And they also cover services.
Manufacturing-related services,
Yeah,
yes.
so I went to see the previous year, 2018, which covered the 2015 and 2017 statistic. They mentioned that one of the key factors that cause abandonment in innovative project or IR 4.0 related project is lack of top management support.
Yep.
The involvement of top management support is very crucial. Okay? Like what SK said, you cannot just say this is the IR 4.0 and you can implement. They have to support either from financial perspective or from decision or idea. It's very crucial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, CS, I won't ask you about your experience because you're going to have a keynote address later on that you're going to give a very full picture of your experience. But what I'm going to ask you, because is that you are a big, these semiconductor companies that you have your whole value chain with you. And most of the time, big companies, they have a value chain which is the SMEs. Do you really require them to embark into the smart manufacturing or Industry 4 journey for them to be your panel supplier and so forth? Because that would ease the way that you operate. And a lot of the companies, they don't see this as a need. But a lot of big companies, if you do not have that data, I won't get you as my supplier. Do you have that kind of policies and so forth?
It's not a direct policy, but it does help the SMEs because to have this kind of policy, you actually exclude a lot of people out. But the reason I say it does help is, you know, we are living in a digital world. We are running SAP-based ERP system, and I just want to go back to the point on ERP. Nowadays, ERPs are different from the ERPs of 10, 15, 20 years ago. The modern ERPs are actually optimizers. It's quite intelligent, and SAP-based ERPs have, like for example, a procurement module. You want to be part of our procurement ecosystem, you have to be EDI or direct link to the company so that we can send digital drawings to you. You can do RFQs on that portal. It's called Ariba or for SAP. So we require some minimum amount of Industry 4.0, but it's not compulsory that you be, you know, so advanced. But to be zero and you don't even some actually to be frank with you, we're actually surprised some Malaysian SMEs don't even have a website or don't even have a email domain. They say, oh, my sales guy is a Gmail. I said, we can't use Gmail for SAP.
Yeah.
So things like this, because it has to be secure.
Yep.
And another point is we are also embarking into additive manufacturing. We've got a few 3D printers.
Yep.
So when you want to do first articles, we will send the drawings to, they will send their drawings, we can print it, and then we can discuss with the supplier. But if you can't even send your CAD drawings to us, then you cannot participate.
Yeah, so the SMEs would need to grow together parallel with the multinationals in order for you to be part of the supply chain. Now, someone is, Lailin is signaling in terms of the timing. Now, I will give an opportunity for one question over here. Is there any questions over here? No? No. Then, if no, then I will ask each of the panelists one simple question, a very, very short one. To enable a company to run the Industry 4.0 project in a sustainable manner, I just want one phrase or two keywords. That there are so many important elements, but two things that you must do. Two things that you must do in your journey of the Industry 4.0. Starting with Jason.
Definitely, I would say two keywords. It's very key. I believe Dato Sri also mentioned just now, knowledge, education. So the two keywords is reskilling and upskilling. So what are the difference between reskilling and upskilling? Reskilling means that whatever you are doing now, whatever knowledge that you have right now, you have to continue to invest on them, on your people. Send them for the specific, let's say they work on specific machine, continue to send them there because there is definitely a development in their area. Maybe they already continue to work on that particular process for more than 5 years, 6 years. They thought they know everything, but it's not true. There bound to be some development. Okay, like I mentioned, I was in Germany again. Then we attend the courses. The courses is a 5-day course. Okay, 3 days itself, even though it's IR 4.0 course, 3 days itself they talk about conventional knowledge. Whatever the existing knowledge, what are the development in your existing knowledge? By knowing so, then you will know the gap. How are you going to fill with the IR 4.0 technology? The next 2 days only they talk about IR 4.0.
Yeah, you have to know where are you right now.
Where are you right
forward.
now?
Yeah.
Where are you right now? So once you understand where are you right now, which IR 4.0 pillars that or technology is going to embark, then you go for upskilling.
Okay.
You go for upskilling. Probably I also want to share something over here. This is a college, but like what Dato Sri mentioned just now, we also want to skill the people around this region. We also invested in one IR 4.0 lab, mechatronic labs and hydraulic labs to reskill and upskill the people to support the manufacturing industry over here. So if you would like to see this lab, you can actually approach me. I can show you later on.
We should organize this. Messi, organize this. Yes.
Okay,
Short one.
The key word, the foundation of Industry 4.0 is connected manufacturing. So get connected. I know many SMEs, even multinationals, have legacy machines that's 10, 15, 20 years old. Some still running on Unix or even the old operating systems, the DOS operating systems.
Wow.
Okay, but get connected. Okay, find people who can know how to connect your machines and extract the data out. That is the most important foundation. If you're not connected, forget it. You're still in Industry 3.0.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, to me, I will still stand on the SME to urge the SME, especially the stakeholder, to be transparent, not worried to share the company, information to especially the those who are your first layer of the driver, because they are the one to do the execution, not you are the one. Because you are the one to support them with the decision and to support them with the exactly how you drive through the company, the direction, so that they know the direction, where to heading, and they know how to help you to achieve what you want. So IR4 basically go through the RA process. From the RA process, basically you yourself will know where you are. From there, come in.
Thank you very much.
I would suggest take a stock of where you are and where you should be in 5 to 10 years' time. I think once you know where you need to be in 5 to 10 years' time, it will give you all the motivation and the logic to know what you need to do. The second step is then futurize your operations according to that strategic intent. Primarily look into manpower and financial resources.
Okay. Now, lastly, I would just like to summarize. Now, the Malaysian government has initiative of the industry forward. So they have this readiness assessment program, which is completely 100% subsidized by the government if you are an SME. If you are not an SME, you can be self-funded. And that readiness assessment would give you a picture of where are you right now, what are the recommendations, what are the gaps, and so forth. So a lot of the companies taken this report and just put it into the drawer and then not even reading it. Now, very important is that with this report, the management should actually develop your own strategy based on that. Okay? Then you will be able to move forward. Then only you will be identifying who are the respective technology or service provider who can help you to embark on it. So these are the few things that we want to summarize, and I would like to thank you, all the panelists over here, to give a very insightful perspective, and later on there will be a breakout session that you all can get more insights. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lin.
Thank you. Now, I must say that this has been a very big learning curve for me. I've been in Industry 4.0 by default only because of Hannover Messe, right? Like you also, King Teng. So, with this, I thank everyone up on the stage, as well as everyone who is willing to participate in this panel discussion. We now invite some of you back down onto the floor. I know we have Mr. Tan Chun Sing, who will be speaking next as a keynote address. What do you call it? In the meantime, I know some of you may have curious minds. Make sure to speak to the panelists up here. Also, to exchange your name card so that you can actually have some kind of insight. Don't be shy, like what Mr. S.K. Chong actually said, okay? And also to arrange the tour that, you know, Jason has already mentioned earlier. So you know who to approach. If it's not me, Mr. Fong is also here, Darren is also here. And then now we have Mr. Tan Chun Sing. Can the, what do you call it? Yes. Yeah. So, Mr. Tan Chun Sing is, of course, without further ado, you know him already. He's been speaking quite a bit. And he will be talking on ST Microelectronics case study of adopting Industry 4.0 in ST Muar.
Okay, so once again, my name is C.S. Tan. So Industry 4.0 is about making things short, right? Don't have to call me my full name. And I'm from Muar. Although I was born in Penang, I still keep my house here. And I do come back often. I studied here, worked here. In fact, I have some former colleagues here as well. So throughout my career, I've moved in many factories, EMS, semiconductors, and so on. So, but I've been with ST Microelectronics for 9.5 years in Muar. Okay, so when I first went to Muar, I commented to the audience in my town hall. In Muar, we also have an auditorium much like this, and we say that I think Muar is like Penang, about maybe 20, 30 years back. It's a very quaint town. So a bit of PR work for ST. ST is actually a very big company. Last year, we achieved $12.8 billion sales. We have over 48,000 employees worldwide. We are listed in New York Stock Exchange, Paris, and also Milan Stock Exchange. There are 13 manufacturing sites. And we are also signatories of the UN Global Compact on sustainability, environment sustainability. So where are we? We are in three parts of your life. One is smart mobility. So in almost all the cars in the world, there is an ST chip there. Okay, so nowadays cars have a lot of semiconductors. Some estimates is about average semiconductor content in a car is about $1,200 now, on average. Used to be, car, if you have a power window, is considered a luxury car. Now even the basic car has got reverse camera, power window is a must already, right? And now there are lots of features, dynamic stability control, AEBs, and so on. Okay, the other area that we play in is power and energy, power optimization, energy management. And another one is IoT, of course, and connectivity. In fact, my plant in Muar is making RF chips, RF front-end chips for SpaceX. So we are one of the major providers of semiconductors for SpaceX, the Starlink. So it's done in the Muar plant. So the Muar plant has a lot of automotive, a little bit of power energy, and a lot of IoT. And in this modern era, there are actually two mega trends driving this. One is the digitalization and cloudification. So this is going to be very important when later on I move into our journey on Industry 4.0. And the other one is energy management and power efficiency. You cannot be Industry 4.0 if your IoT drains up your battery, right? So if your sensors, and every month or so you got to go and check whether the battery is still working or not, then it's not going to be workable. So power management, power efficiency is very important. We're now moving into energy efficient buildings and management. So there's also factory automation, industrial infrastructure, we have consumer industrial and specialized industrial. These are the areas of key revenue drivers for ST. Okay, we are not so strong in personal consumer because those are very low margin products, but we are very strong in consumer industrial and specialized industrial. Okay, and like I said, there are lots of ICs in battery management. You have, in a semiconductor ecosystem, you must have the converters, the AC-DC converters, DC to DC converters. Because the world is actually an analog world, it's not a digital world. But to be able to process what you sense in the world, you have to convert from analog to digital. And that's where ST is strong in AC-DC, DC-DC, and then you have your control units. We have our world famous and number one product in the world is the STM 32-bit microcontroller. In fact, ST, my company has sponsored an IoT lab in UTAM. So there's a lab in UTAM that teaches STM 32-bit microcontrollers to students. And we even expand this to secondary school students. Okay. Another very important point is sustainability. This is becoming a keyword now. ESG, okay, environmental sustainability governance. And I just want to quickly point out that ST is actually very aggressive, and I'm very proud of it. We have declared to be a carbon neutral company by 2027, which is very near. Most companies do not even dare to declare by 2030. Many companies are aiming for 2040 or 2050, but ST is aiming for 2027, which is only a couple of years away, few years away, to be fully carbon neutral. And with that, our plants are looking into ways to optimize energy. We have an assembly and test plant in Morocco that is 100% powered by sustainable energy. They have wind turbines in Morocco in the desert to power the plant. I'm still searching for that in Moa or in Malaysia. The wind in Malaysia is not so reliable. Okay, but we are doing solar. But the sad thing about solar is it's only available for like 5 hours a day or 6 hours a day. So it's not, you can't get solar energy round the clock. Okay, so now let me zoom into Moa. Most of you are from Penang, so you may not even, actually frankly, before joining ST, I have never been to Moa. I don't even know where is Moa. I have to use Waze to go and find the plant that I'm supposed to run. Okay, that's the town of Moa. From the air, the drone shot, it looks a bit like a European town with a bridge, very beautiful bridge across it. It's a very beautiful town. I've actually fallen in love with Moa. And it's that this plant is established back in 1974. So it's very old. It's 48 years. We are actually the second location for semiconductors after Penang. After Penang, a lot of people do not know. The second location is actually Malacca and Moa together. The total plant area, now that I have, the land area is 14 acres. Okay, I convert, Europeans like to use square meters, so I convert it to acres for you. 14 acres, built up of about close to 900,000 square feet and more than 4,000 employees. I have 4,400 employees to be exact. So just now I mentioned, right, we have been doing Industry 4.0 for so long, but we still have 4,000 over employees. Well, it's not that we are not productive. There's, the moment we cut headcount, more products come in, so the volume goes up, complexities goes up, revenue goes up. Over 70% of our production volume is dedicated to automotive products. Okay, so if you have to wait 6 months for your X70, blame it on ST. Especially Moa. I do get calls from Proton, from Geely and so on, chasing for parts, right? But Always my excuse is, we are LMW, we can't sell parts directly to you, we send everything to Singapore, so you have to contact our Singapore sales. And MOA is also the main ST internal plant for microcontrollers. 32-bit microcontrollers are mostly manufactured in MOA, assembled and tested in MOA. So we specialize in high complexity and high reliability packages. This is the night view of the plant. A lot of various types of packages. We have new investments in advanced packages. In fact, as of now, we have put another floor of 75,000 square feet of class 1K and class 100 clean room to do very high-end packages. I can't disclose because it's still confidential, but it is a different type of package. It is like a wafer level CSP. We also host the automotive product engineering and test development is inside this plant also. We have shared accounting services center for Asia. That means the entire accounting and financial services are directed and transacted through MOA. So even treasury, even cash collection, even expenses, accounts payable, accounts receivable, all go through there. Now you'll be surprised, just a short trivia about MOA. MOA is a small town, but it has got Bank of China, it has got Bangkok Bank, it has got all the banks are in MOA. All the banks that you can name off, they're in MOA. No, not because of us. MOA has a lot of furniture exporters that they transact a lot of cash. We are also certified ITAP, this is for sure. And we are also recognized as a lean gold plant by MPC recently. And in 2019, we received the Industry Excellence Award from the Prime Minister. So this is a very busy chart, but I want to show Industry 4.0 in one chart. Okay? Now, Industry 4.0 means, like as mentioned in the panel just now, means a lot of things to a lot of people. Right? It means a lot of things to a lot of people, but I summarize it to 3 roadmaps. The first roadmap is robotization. This is the most obvious, right? Robotization, to move things with robots. The second pillar, I call it digitalization, to convert handwritten data, to convert machine repair logs. It's very similar to when you send your car for repair. In the past, the mechanic will write certain things, they have this big chart and they write now. Factories used to do the same. The technician have to write certain things. But now all my technicians carry a tablet. They scan the QR code on the machine, it drives the history of that machine, and they do maintenance and they do updates, send it back to the server. It's all paperless. That's digitalization. And last, but I think most important, the ultimate aim. Okay, if anyone asks you what is the aim of Industry 4.0, the ultimate aim of Industry 4.0 is intelligence. Okay, optimization, to get better and better and better. That's the last one, but it's the most difficult. So with this, like robotization, like I said, this is our AGV. We also have our plating lines, have overhead conveyors. Our packing is auto pack. We don't have operators to do the packing. The finished product goes into a robot and it auto pack. Inspection is all by machine. This is the robotization. Digitalization, oven monitoring system. The old way of monitoring the oven is there's a pen that trace the profile, right? And all our ovens are online. So during an audit, the QA auditor can pull out all few hundred ovens and they can see everything. Now, why I say digitalization is very important. If you don't have digitalization, forget about intelligence. You cannot do it. You digitalize, after that you can have intelligence. Now, as mentioned in the panel discussion, one of the complications of digitalization is as in SMEs, don't think that MNCs have a lot of money and we can all buy new equipment. It's not true. Many of my machines are 10 years, 15, 20 years. They are what we call legacy machines. And they still work. We're not going to throw them away. So one of the key roadblocks and key secrets of Industry 4.0 is to be able to extract data out of old machines. Okay? And fortunately, we have found service providers, service partners that can help us to do this. And actually, one of them is here. They are from Penang, so Bioenergy, Paul. So later you can go and see him. His company has already helped us to extract data out of very old machines, and put them into a server and customize in the way that you want. And that is very important part. If you don't do that, forget about digitalization. So once you've done this, intelligence. Last year, we have set up a new department called DSA, Data Science and Analytics. And we have hired a few PhDs with data science knowledge. And their job is to drive intelligence into decision making. So things like, our AOI in the past, whether the product is a accept or reject. In the end, the operator still has to go and see, oh, I judge this to be accept or reject. But with this intelligence, the machine, through machine learning, can do it on its own. Okay, so the intelligence is very important, and this is a very long journey. Okay, so we have IoT control systems, intelligent image AI, automation. We also have materials management system. The intelligence system and the planning, the ERP, can dispense the materials to the line as when needed. So they predict when you want it, and so on. And now we are also embarking on a very interesting project called Predictive Maintenance. In the past, many factories run their maintenance by time. Okay, quarterly, half-yearly maintenance. Predictive maintenance is a lot like your Mercedes or BMW. If the sensor doesn't show, you don't need to send it to the workshop. So many of the machines are already that way. Okay? So this is my last slide. I just want to keep it simple. Earlier in the panel, I mentioned you have to understand the whys, right? So there are actually four whys. Quality. Perhaps your motivation to go into Industry 4.0 is quality. And that's a very good motivator as well. Supply. Earlier SK was mentioning ERP and so on. This has to do with supply. To be able to predict your shipments. All right? You cannot predict with an Excel. And as I've mentioned in the panel as well, the modern ERPs are very intelligent. When you start a lot, it will be able to predict when you can ship the lot. To the day, not just by week, by the day. It can do that. Cost, obvious. Labor is one of them, but don't just aim for labor. Labor is one of them. The other one that you can aim for is high uptime, OEE, right? Maintenance cost. Lessen your maintenance cost. Why should you maintain your machine every 3 months or 6 months? Wait for the predictive maintenance to tell you what to change. And last but not least, well, I use sustainability here in a bit different from what Keng Teck was using. Sustainability to SD means the green environment, right? So here, my factory facilities are full 100% FMCS. That means there's a control room. You can check the condition of every compressor, every cooling tower, every chilled water system, all of this. And they can optimize. So if that part of the building has less heat load or less people, it will reduce the aircon accordingly, okay, without any human intervention. So it's full FMCS. So that is the journey of SD. Like I said, understand the whys, do a roadmap, and enjoy the journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure every one of us would like to now visit the plant. I want. Do you want? Yes, right? So we charter a bus to go to SD Muak. Okay, so now we have the next panel discussion. We talked about this, and Jason brought it up earlier, reskilling and upskilling. But are we doing it correctly? And talent development has always been a big question in Malaysia. We have a lot of people trying to do talent development, trying to reskill and upskill, and we have a whole host of speakers and a very engaging moderator who will definitely keep you on your toes. How many of you think that reskilling and upskilling is expensive? Still no noise. Can put hand up lah. How many things is expensive? Do you have an L&D department? Ah, that's interesting. How many of you got an L&D department here? Don't have ah? Walao. Okay, never mind. Let me introduce to you first the moderator, Datin Lorala Chia. She is a woman of many talent, and she's also our very, very, very singular woman, actually, who's going to be moderating a very interesting session. She's the Vice President, #1 of the MEIF Federation, and also the Deputy Central Chairman of Small and Medium Enterprises Association. Next to them would be Dr. Chua Wen-shan. He's the Smart Factory Specialist, but also a man of many, many talents and experience, formerly Western Digital, but now heading SHRDC. Encik Amiruddin bin Zahamil, the Training Program Director of Siemens. So anyone here who wants to buy Siemens, you know where to go and look for. Mr. Siu Chang Wai of IME Group of Companies. He comes with 15 years of experience in this line of work. And so if any one of you questions his experience, go up to him and see whether he can give you a proper answer. And of course, Mr. S.T. Rubaneswaran. He comes from the startup perspective. So it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3 when it comes to startups, right? And a lot of us wants to incubate one, start one, or maybe be the next unicorn like Carson. So do we have what it takes, the chops? May they come up on stage, and we will now begin.
Morning, everyone. I'm still a bit old school, yeah, paper. So, good morning or lunchtime. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our session on Talent Development Reimagined. Are we on the right track? So, when we talk about Industry 4.0 and manufacturing, we are often bombarded with imagery of robots and machines and on-screen data projections. So much so that some people actually think that this is an era where technology becomes more important than talent, people, right? But the truth is, all of us in the field, we know we compete for talent, right? So the advancements in and accelerated adoption of digital technology, especially over the past 2 years, the automation of business processes, together with the emergence of new business models, means that talent development involves not only attracting and developing new talent, but also recognizing the new skills that are needed, right? Reskilling, upskilling, like we talked about, as well as redesigning work process to reduce the skill mismatch between jobs and employees. In fact, it's been said that one of the big things this year is that HR is a center of design. HR teams will be reshaped to design, launch, monitor, and continuously improve workplace programs. So let's get started. We begin with Amir. Could you tell us how talent development has changed in Siemens in the past 2 years?
Okay. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Lorela, and our distinguished panel here for inviting Siemens to the floor. Okay, to answer your question, for Siemens, it's actually we start before 2 years ago. I mean, in terms of talent development, we are looking for digital talents. Yeah. So how to say in a nutshell, the skill that we required is actually, I can say, not available. So that's why the expatriate come into the country. Yeah. Okay. Along the while, we try to do a local, how to say, talent. So we how to say, with the help of government, we managed to, how to say, train local, and then from this we hired them. Yeah. So in terms of how to say, the new how to say, talent that come into the fact into the business, it's actually different from in the old days. Yeah. Okay. So when it come the pandemic, so we are still hiring during the pandemic. So we still hire during that time. What is the difference? It's actually my new colleague I haven't met face to face. We just met via Teams. Yeah. So can you imagine how we can hire somebody through digital? I mean, during this time, during the pandemic, it's actually everything shift. It's how to say, we have to work differently. Yeah. And then for us, it's actually, I think 2018-19, we already start to do this remote meeting. So because we want to bring down the cost. So, I mean, we already, how to say, embarked on the digitalization earlier. And then I can say that when the pandemic come, and then the business still run, yeah, globally and also in Malaysia. So the talent that how to say that we have is actually very unique and can sustain the business. Okay, I hope I answer your question.
Yes, thank you. Now, Sue, based on feedback from the industry, what has changed in terms of talent expectation? Can you talk a little bit about challenges in hiring local and foreign talent for 3D jobs? So from MNC, we now move to SME.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sue from IME. So regarding these questions, 3D jobs, so we're talking about dirty, dangerous, and difficult jobs. And I believe most of the audience here agree with me that hiring is very difficult, especially when you want to hire someone young, right? So who want to work in factories? So this is very simple questions when I go meeting up with customer, right? I think most of you here, like, if you have a choice, you do not want to work in the factory as a blue collar. You prefer to work as a white collar, right? So, and now getting a job is so easy. If you have a motorcycle, you can start a job already. So you do not necessarily need to work in a production floor if there's an options. Last time, no. Why? Because we want to cari makan, right? The old timer will know, cari makan. Whatever job comes, we take and we do. But now there's a lot of choices. So it's become difficult. So a month ago, I did meet with one SME, 30 plus years company. So what happened is that he told me that, Sil, I forced to invest in robotic. I forced to invest into automations and Industry 4.0. I say, why force? Because it's very difficult to hire. This is what he told me. It's very difficult to hire. I have a lot of headaches on human resource. Hiring white collar is easy. Office staff is easy. As long as the package is right, I should be able to hire. But for productions worker, it's very difficult. Even you give a good package, they walk into my factory, they saw my environment, they walk away. So that's what's happening. So he said, I have no choice, but I have to invest into robots. 2019, he bought the first robots. Okay, invested 1 robots. Now, 2022, he have 21 robots. So moving forward, he said, my direction now is to upskill my current worker. I want to ensure that they are professional enough on handling my automations and my robots. So skill is first thing. And in terms of new hire, the talents requirement have changed. They're no longer just looking for operator, someone who know just to operate the task, but someone with skill. So this is where we look into recognitions, certifications, and specific skill. And this is what happened in the past few years when I'm working with a few local universities. We run a lot of job placement program. Initially, we run program just teaching them some software and all sort of thing. But from the market demands, they want certifications. They want recognitions. So for example, if they're learning 3D software, they want to have the skill sets at that area. If they are learning robotics, they will ask, does this come with a certification? Do you have an examinations, right, to recognize my worker are competent in these areas? So these are the change along the time. Last time, they just want someone who can work. Now they are looking someone who have high skill. So moving forwards, and this will be the directions where most companies were focusing on, upskill and reskill. Right, so that's my takes on these questions. Right, thank you, Tati. Pass back to you.
So, Dr. Chua, as HRDC works with so many companies for their training needs, what is your observation on how organizations manage talent development differently?
Yeah, so generally at SHRDC, we basically have 30 years of experience in doing training and talent development. We have moved from, initially a lot of manufacturing related training, all the way to ICT, all the way to solar, and now one of our key programs is actually digital transformation programs called the Malaysian Smart Factory. So when we look at talent development, we work with a spectrum of industries, right? Ranging from the SMEs, they are really, really SMEs, and looking at local large, and also looking at multinational companies. So we see that the spectrum of training needs and talent development needs are very different across the spectrum, right? The multinational companies and local large companies, they are looking more now into talents related to data analytics, data science, artificial intelligence. Those are training needs of the local largest and the MNCs. And they have very structured talent development teams, very structured learning and development teams within their manufacturing environment. Now, then we look at the SME spectrum, right, where the talent needs are very, very different, right? You have the top level owners, the management, factory manager, and then in between that is just factory manager and operators, right? There's no in between of technical people, technical supervisors, technicians that they are looking to upskill or reskill. So what we notice of when we support the SME sector is that a lot of them are aware of the technology, they know the advantages, they know the capabilities of it, but number one, they don't know where to start. Number two, they don't know how or where to upskill their own team or what programs to upskill their team to enable them to move forward. And this is real data. This is real survey data from the Smart Forward survey that was already done, right? So when we look at that observation, we notice that the key to actually help companies to move forward, as what was mentioned by the other panels and also the keynote speech this morning, is the people, right? And with the right people right now, is important for the manufacturing sector to relook at the people development pipeline for your factory, right? It's no longer just hiring immense number of operators and hoping that they can sustain your manufacturing operations for the next 10 years, right? You need to look at how do you augment the job of your people, right? Instead of just doing operator jobs, that repetitive task can be replaced by robots. Those repetitive tasks can be replaced by automation. Now, what you need now is data automation, looking at the data, looking at the wealth of information of how do you optimize and build intelligence in your factory. So that pipeline of talent development spectrum is what we hope that the SMEs will slowly move towards to and achieve what the MNCs are already going through now, which is now in the data science and analytics region. Yeah.
Wow, that's very insightful. Last and definitely most interesting, Ruben.
Hi, morning.
Beyond 4 Tech is an ecosystem builder and a change agent. Tell us a little bit about that and tell us your take on how we unlock human potential.
Okay, morning everybody. I was born in KL, but spent most of my time in Penang. So I love to be in Penang. So let me just explain a bit on the talent side and the ecosystem part and everything. This is the context a bit, right? So beyond 4, we build talent and startups together. Why talent and startups? Let me explain a bit. So let's look at the talent perspective. Basically, not only Penang facing the problem, the whole of the country is facing the same problem. We have all over in KL, Johor, Pahang and all. Whenever I see a company and all, tell me the first thing is I got a talent issue. No manpower, not enough right talent. I'm sure all you guys are facing the same issues here, right? So what happens is, it stems down from three things actually. Number one is the brain drain. The good talents are not here. Most of them are in Singapore, where are my Singapore friends? They take most of our talent. And the exchange rate going up higher doesn't make any, easier for us. Second thing is, not enough STEM graduates. Over the years, we produce a lot more non-STEM graduates. Converting them into STEM will be an issue, and not enough of that. The third thing is a mismatch of skills. I study something else, but I'm working something else. I'm a clear example. I'm an engineer, double in engineering, computing, and electronics, but I became a salesman. So, also a mismatch of skills. So because of the three things, it caused a talent problem in Malaysia that's happening. So what Beyond 4 does is, why we say ecosystem as a startup and a talent, because you can't run away from both. You need to build startups. Startups need talent. And startups not meaning local startups. There's a lot of international startups who come over here, who set up their companies over here. They build, operate, and test. A lot of factories over here as well. So those considered startups from overseas coming over here to penetrate into the Asian market. They need talent as well. So we focus on startups and talent at the same time to create an ecosystem. And how we unlock the potential is we figure out that everybody has a skill set or a need or unique skill set that we can actually grow them. So people that we train, people that we go through our programs and everything and all, we either get them great jobs, place them into companies, a lot of partners in Penang as well, Microm, Dexcom, all the guys are partners as well, or we make them become entrepreneurs. It's either one. You see? So that's what we do.
Thank you. So did you understand what he said? If you didn't, you must look for him afterwards. So, like you, I'm also in something different. I went to law school. Didn't know that, huh? So somehow weirdly entangled in this. So now that we are warmed up, let's bring it a little bit deeper. Now this is where I grill them. In March this year, the Malaysian Employers Federation issued a statement that despite the high unemployment rate, local youth are not interested in taking up 3D jobs. So as you were saying just now, even with attractive packages. But the Deloitte findings show that perceptions in the US is shifting. Can we talk about this a little bit? Are we seeing a similar trend in Malaysia? Is perception shifting? And if it's not, how can we get there? Who wants to begin? Maybe Ruben.
Okay, perception, it's all about perception. A plumber in Australia probably earns more than an office guy in an office, executive in an office. Let's be honest about it. Perception-wise is because he comes to the place, he carries his tools, follows the SOP, he does his work, he does it with utmost professional, he finishes in 1 hour, and he doesn't go and buy other stuff and say, I don't have the equipment and stuff like that. So it's really professionally done, and he's certified as well. He's trained and he's certified, he's skilled. So in Malaysia, how do we treat our plumbers? We call them, they come over, they fix the stuff. Whether it works or not, we don't see the quality part. We perceive the talent that comes over, it's not to a level that we want, we just call them off and they come over here. And if they charge higher, we negotiate the price. We negotiate, we go through and stuff like that. It's all about that. So to change the perception, it starts with a person on how you actually put in a program, how you train them, how you certify them, how you upskill them, how you continuously put improvement in professionalism in what they do in 3D. It's not about the salaries anymore. It's how the generation now looks at what kind of growth or what kind of vision they have towards the job. So 3D jobs, similar as well. The benchmark is in US and all overseas. It's not only about the salary. It's also about certifying, making them proper, putting them a bit of professionalism in them to create the value when they engage the client. It's also a lot of customer engagement as well. How you speak, how you talk, how you go there, and how you do the stuff, how much you clean after that as well. So these are the things that I think that if we incorporate it into our 3D jobs in Malaysia, as a professional, taking a benchmark of how they do it overseas, I'm sure eventually our plumbers can probably earn more than the guys sitting in offices as well.
Sue.
Okay, back to the questions of 3D. So if we compare MNC and local SME, it's actually a huge difference in terms of their production setup. Okay, so I mean, stupid answer for these questions, stupid answer, very stupid answer. So how to improve a 3D environment? Very simple. If it's dirty, make it clean. If it's dangerous, make it safe. Right? If it's difficult, make it easy. Right? And I believe these are the approach that most MNC are doing. And I believe a lot of foreign countries are doing that as well. That's why this is why we see control environments, clean environments in the factories, all those 5S coming in, and then robotics to ease the difficult job to make it easy. And this is one of the driving factors that people are coming back to this. But when we say people are coming back to this job here, they are no longer just hard labor, but they are high-skilled worker. Okay, for example, that just now, I believe Mr. Tan from Mom mentioned just now, that they're hiring PhD for data science. PhD. So never for once we think about hiring a PhD for a production floor, but now we are shifting into that high skill. So same thing, when we are talking about people coming back to this industry, I believe those so-called people are coming back here are people with skill. And at the same time, of course, the appreciations of high-skilled worker is important. So this is where the HR role are very important to convince our so-called Chinaman boss that we have to pay a little bit more for high-skilled worker to appreciate them so that they come and help us to do this kind of transformations in our productions. Because end of the day, it's everybody business to drive it. So I believe this is one of the reasons, because of adoptions of technology, which drive and changing the environments, therefore people are coming back. So that's my take on this. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's the SME Chinaman. Yes, MNC, do we agree?
Okay, how to agree on this? Okay, so just to share with you, so we've done a lot of program under government fund. Number one problem, we cannot get candidates, even though it's a free program. Yes. That is actually, I believe everybody will face this problem. Yeah. So we've done a little bit survey, and then we ask where all these candidates go, because we would like to have the skill to be trained. Okay, so where this young generation go? So first that I got to know, they are more into retail. Yeah, because retail offer starting salary 2,800. Okay, and it's a condition and OOTD. Yeah, so they prefer that. And then the second one, so they go for ride sharing or for delivery. So I mean, this is the two top, preferred by the youngsters now. Yeah, I mean that is the easy choice, and then they can earn a lot of money. As Mr. Siu mentioned just now, our starting salary for technician engineer is very low in Malaysia. So that's why to attract, so I'm a bit near, to attract the candidate to go into engineering or STEM is actually really difficult. Yeah, as I can say again, we have a few program, free training program, free training program with certification and so forth. But it's really difficult to get one person to join. Yeah, so it means that this is actually, we need everybody help. I mean, maybe the company owner, as mentioned, could increase the salary, and then adjust a bit, and it will help the country, in terms of GNI. Yeah, so I think that's my take. I mean, the 3D needs some support from the industry also. Even the government already start to kick in some initiative, but now it's in the industry, to support. We are here is actually, we have the technology, we can share the technology, transfer the technology, but there's no takers. Yeah, we don't want that, we have to, as I mentioned again, to take expatriate to come to Malaysia.
So far so good, quite aligned. Dr. Chua, what about you?
Yeah, so we support a very wide range of industries, ranging from the semicon and also the auto part manufacturers, the rubber product manufacturers, and also the timber industry, the furniture manufacturers, right? When we look at the attractiveness of candidates, because we also run a lot of programs, we run a lot of placements for students, we talk to so many industries, right? Students are definitely more attracted to you know, the industries that provide a very clear career development, right? For example, when we work with the furniture manufacturers, right, and they are looking for talents, they are looking for engineers. So we say, okay, we place them in a furniture company. Furniture company, some of them are 3D, but as what Siu mentioned, right, if it's dirty, they clean. If it's difficult, make it easy, right? If it's dangerous, make it safe. So the furniture industries that portray that perception, that perspective, student want to go. Student wants to be there. And companies like that have a very clear direction or career development path because they know that I need these people to maintain my robots in the next 5 years, right? So I start now. I need to take in people now. But if the candidate goes into a factory and they are not doing engineering job, they are hired as an engineer, not doing engineering job, doing clerical job, people won't stay, right? Because not that they don't like the company, but are they going to have transferable skills from the company that they are in now to go to the next step? For example, if I want to apply to another furniture manufacturer as an engineer, will they give me a higher salary? You know, or will they give me a lower salary, in fact, because I do clerical job, right? So sometimes also that there are government support in terms of subsidies, right, for hiring subsidies. Okay, government maybe support 1,000 per month for the next 6 months, right? The moment the subsidy stops, right, we have heard the moment the subsidy stops, the salary goes back down, it doesn't go up. So this part is all about perception and perspective. And as Ruben mentioned, you know, STEM, there are very little motivation to do STEM. Why? If you walk past a shopping mall and you see advertisements from a F&B store, minimum salary 3,000, 3,500 for a helper. And an engineer salary is, well, I don't need to say lah, right? So that perspective already give, you know, the young ones, where should I go, right? So if we want to remain more competitive, we have to start thinking about how do we attract and retain the people, the skilled people, for our future. Because otherwise, we may end up with a very high risk of our talents going abroad. And that's something that we really need to start rethinking about it. Yeah.
Thank you. So, job versus skill versus the people, right? So in September of 2021, IDC did a white paper on the top 5 workforce trends shaping the manufacturing industry by 2025. Got lah, I share already. So 45% of companies say they are currently understaffed in their high-skill positions, right? So based on the most in-demand skills, which are here in manufacturing today, how has hiring changed and what are some of the current recruitment strategies? We start with the MNC because everyone says MNC easier to recruit people.
This is a tough question. Yeah. Okay. So how to say this? Okay. To hire is actually a new skill set is required. Yeah. A lot of new skill set is required because, as you know, the millennial start to join the workforce now. Yeah. So they have different demands. They have different requirements. Yeah. So means that we have to somehow, how to say, agile and adopt. Okay, one example that we work with one of the company, I help the program to be placed for placement program. So what happened is actually for 1 month we will take the candidate go for training. Yeah. the word is actually bridging program. Okay. So once we have done the bridging program, so the company still going to go into this how to say apa panggil tu introduction, yeah, introduction, onboarding, yeah, sorry, the word is onboarding program for 1 month. So the 3rd month, then they go into the production floor. I mean, this is the current trend that in Central, so most of them is doing this. Why this pattern or this, I can say the demand doing like this, because as fast as they go into the factory and then they resign, because some of the program they start to work and then they say, oh, this environment is 3D, and then okay, I cabut. So there is actually how to say few problems. I still talk about problem, yeah, and then still not solved until now, yeah. Okay, so to attract the new candidates now is actually really difficult, because they have option, as mentioned earlier. So like Dr. Chua also mentioned, the advertisement of the salary. I still come back to salary. Yeah, salary is actually still the pulling factor. So okay, regardless, I think SME or MNC, the demand is actually, yes, we have all this, yeah, to mention, but I think deep down the new talent that we require is not available. So that's why most of us to support, for example, like ST previously mentioned, they are going to digitalization, robot and intelligent. So this new skill is actually a must. We need to embark. And then for us, we work with universities. For example, in Northern, we work with UNIMAP, they're one of the MTUN. So we try to, how to say, look into the curriculum and start to adapt to the, how to say, current technology. Okay,
so
thank you.
What I'm hearing is that you put in a lot of effort, and even if you could hire, they may not stay.
Correct.
What about SME? A lot of people say SME difficult to hire lah.
It's very difficult to hire. In fact, I do agree with this one here. I give a story, again hearsay a story. So what happened is that one of my customers implemented real-time machine connectivity, OEE system. So they have night shift. So after using for a week, they call me, still the system is not good. I say, why the system is not good? I identified that the night shift, right, my operator off early. The machine was shut down 2 hours earlier. I said, okay, so what's next? I asked him back, so what's next? So he said that your OEE system didn't tell me what to do next. Now I know the machine is stopped 2 hours. Why your system didn't tell me what are the action I should do? Then I said, what you expect from the system? The system already do what it can do, is to inform you that the machines has been stopped for 2 hours without any reason. So, of course, you have to find out the reason. So then, okay, we go through together with this one, we check CCTV, then we find out that it's actually not that the guy is lazy, but it's too productive. He get all the job done early. So he works smart. He get it done early, then he can take a nap, 2 hour naps. So that is the reason. So then they ask me, then how? What should I do? I say, I think this is back to your management, what you should do. It's not I to tell you what you should do, right? Because at least we identify the issues already. It's not that he is lazy, but it's overproductive. So what should you want to do? I think this is something internal you should discuss. And this is where I come into this soft skill over here, problem solving and design thinking. Do you want to increase the target for him by putting up some incentive he can do more, right? Or you think that this is wrong, that you want to penalty him? I think this is something that I, as an SI, I can't play a role on helping you to make a company decisions. So that's why this has come into one important factor, is that the soft skill in manufacturing is now has become something important. Same thing, even today we're talking about AI in a factory, we're talking about collecting data. End of the day, you still need someone to analyze the data to make it become something predictive. so that the data speak. All right, so the data tell us something, but not making decisions. The data only can tell us that, hey, it's time to repair the machine. It will not auto repair the machines. It will tell you it's time. You have to schedule your maintenance guy to go and repair the machines. Right? It's still not up to that stage that it will auto repair. No such thing yet. So that's why if I'm doing this talk to students in school, usually I will ask a very simple questions. Are you smarter than robot? Just as simple as that. As long as you are smarter than robots, you are safe. You're not going to be replaced, whether digitally or with machines. In fact, you are the one who are controlling them, controlling the machines, and you are the one who controlling the data. And this is where this number 1 to 8 come into the pictures. So I totally agree on this one now. So I have to look into this. If any students here look into this, it's more to soft skill. And in fact, in the market, there are quite a lot of this kind of training. I believe SHRDC have the frog, we call that, right, the frog theory. And then there's one twist methodology from Russians. They are focusing in this area as well. There is quite a lot of this kind of soft skill training for manufacturers. Right, so that's my take.
So before I call on Dr. Chua, I just want to say that students here be overly productive. And for bosses who want stuff that did too much too fast, talk to him also. So Dr. Chua, tell us how we can reskill or upskill to soft skill.
Yeah, so I think most of these skills here, like what we have seen, are very much essential skills. Right? I like to use the word essential and not soft skills because it is essential. Right? And in this market today, right, when we talk about talents, right, what we notice of is that these essential skills are unfortunately lacking. Right? And I chose initially not to believe it because I felt that our graduates are good. Right? They should have these essential skills by the time that they finish their diploma, their degree, or SKM, or whatever it is, right? Because it's embedded in the curriculum. It is part of the knowledge, skills, attributes in that whole, government initiative, to ensure that we produce good talents. So I'm a very data-driven kind of guy. Even in education, I collect data, right? So when I recruit people, when I enroll people into programs, I do a simple essential skills test just to see where they are. And you'll be very surprised at the results. Right? So then the next question is, like what Amiruddin mentioned, when he placed people in companies, the guy leaves the next day or something like that. Now the next thing to do is, how do you make changes to support people with probably little bit short of these essential skills, right? Because these are skills that can still be embraced, it can still be imparted in proper programs that you have in the company. It's all about company culture. For example, a person that cannot handle stress, right? And you know that he cannot handle stress, you still pile on stress on him. What's going to happen next? He will not come up tomorrow. He will say, I'm no longer going to come, right? But if you nurture in a way where, okay, I understand where you are facing problems, how can I help you? It's a very different scope, and that's how you retain people, right? And these essential skills are also something that we need to advocate and educate company-wide to embrace the same culture, and that's how you get to attract good talents, retain good talents, and that's where your company will sustain or improve better for the next coming years. That's my perspective on it.
Ruben, so looking at this, right?
Okay.
I think these are all skills of a boss. So is the answer to make all these people their own bosses?
No, I mean, okay, can also. Can also. Eventually, I mean, if you have entrepreneur's traits, you can become your own boss and run your own stuff and everything and all. But looking at the context of what we're having here, I mean, hiring is so much problem, right? Everything, right? I mean, if you look at it, I just picked up a data here. At the moment, we are one of the most lucky generations, actually. There's two problems we are facing. Number one, our workforce from 55 years old becomes 60 years old. Now from 65 can go 65 also. They're pushing the age higher. And the second is, in our workforce, we have 5 generations of people working. We have the Generation Z from 97 to 2012, the Millennials, the Gen Xers, the Baby Boomers, and the silent generations, all the chairmen and Tansris and all that. Those guys. So you're talking about 5 generations of workforce in an organization, and each has their own way of how they look at culture, companies, hiring, and working. One generation has gone through wars, one generation has gone through COVID, one generation has gone through so many things. So how do you actually put 5 generations of workforce together and then retain the staffs? And imagine you're a Gen Zer and your boss is a baby boomer. You see? Look at the gap. So this is what I think is being plagued by the workforce at the moment, besides the talent issues and many other issues as well. You see? So I think if we find a way to solve this, and I guess the main key is adapting and soft skills and getting people to all layers of generation workforce to understand that and moving forward. It's easier said than done, but it's tough. But I guess we will start there.
Very good. Actually, that's true. 5 generations. Never thought of it that way. So we now come to the segment where we take questions from the floor. Anyone with any questions? Don't have? Okay, I have one. In Penang especially, when you talk to the people in the industry, always it comes back to one question. My staff, my competitor keep poaching my staff, So, can we ask this distinguished panel, how do you handle things when competitor poach your staff? You want to know, right? Who wants to go first? SME.
Lucky my office is in Selangor. I did aware that Penang is quite aggressive on poaching staff. I heard a lot, and my customer in Penang did constantly contact me asking for talent. So yeah, it's quite a tough one. So what we can do is that I think, personal points, I don't think we can do much about this. As long as you're able to give, you see, besides salary, okay, try not to be too realistic. Besides salary, the working environment is one of the things. And the family life is also one of the things. With the fundamentals of pay is good. Right? So I think we have to look into that, is that to give your staff a family-like environments, and must listen to them. It's very important. You must listen to them, especially those in productions. Really need to listen to them, because they are the one who are monitoring, who talk to our machines more than talking to their family member. They know best. They know what they want. If we can give what they want, that might be one of the reasons they continue to stay. For example, I meet with some company champions that want to drive this Industry 4.0. The boss doesn't agree, so he decided to leave to a company that willing to accept his idea. And also I did heard some is that they stay because I have a new project, a new job for me to do some changes for my factory. I choose to stay, that kind of things. So listen to them, right? I think that's my take. Thank you.
Dr. Chua.
Dr. Chua.
Yeah, I think this is very common. Not only in the semiconductor industry, although their attracting point is a little bit much higher, right? And it's probably very hard to say no or to resist it, right? But I agree with what Sue said. It's about creating a company culture that people feel like they're part of a family, right? It's a very different feel, when you create that culture and you create a proper career development path. You give projects to your team members. You empower them to do something for their company that they feel that they are, part of it. It's where they will stay. They will probably stay, okay? Unless probably they have other financial commitments, then this is something that the company needs to see where they can help. But this is what we call as, it's a human factor or humanizing your developments in your company. leading by compassion and empathy. I think that is something where some industries may not have that, right? I have heard also a multinational company, okay, this is what I heard, all right? Okay, the team is extremely brilliant. Okay, they are working on a project, supposed to launch, okay? The team is brilliant, but because of one manager that probably he's stressed out with deadlines, he's probably really pushed to the limit, he just, let it out at his employees. What happened? 25 employees just left. Just left the project, that's it, right? So you see, sometimes it's a very knowledgeable and technical person is a very good person, but maybe, just maybe, he may not be a good manager, right? So that's something where essential skills are important to help retain them. Otherwise, the grass is always greener on the other side. And we want to try to change that perspective, create a proper culture, and that's where people, I believe, will stay. Right? That's my take on it.
Ruben, Ami will save you for the last. Yeah.
You want to go first, Armin? Okay, I'll give you all the staff. Question was staff retention, right? How do you not get? Okay, I'll give you all a true story. Yeah? This happened in India. So, I mean, during the COVID time, not a lot of lockdown and everything and all. So, it happened a lot of startups started mushrooming, right? A lot of startups, a lot of tech startups all over the world, and particularly in India. So, in India, the startups in India, they form, they raise funds, 300-400 million, they become a unicorn. So India became the fastest number of country that produced unicorn during the pandemic period. And they had about 2,000 plus startups. By the end of the pandemic, there are 73,000 startups. Everyone was fundraising. Everyone took the money and everybody pinched everybody. One company hired one guy developer, assuming RM $5,000. The next guy will hire him for 10,000. He puts his letter, he waiting for a notice period. One more guy hires him for $15. This was happening in India rampantly. All hired, all done. Staff salaries was way up, crazy, because they were just raising funds, and paying people. But it's musical chairs, music will stop playing. So when the music stops playing, US went into a recession in a way, and high inflation and stuff. There were no more funds to raise. When there were no more funds to raise, they couldn't pay any more of the salaries for their high inflated staffs, and they started retrenching everybody. All lost jobs. Most of them were laid off. So what I'm trying to say is, the context of paying more to hire somebody, because the other way pay, it was not a sustainable kind of a thing. Because a company that pays more, you jump over the other side, and the other person that pays more. So this is what's happening rampantly between the manufacturing line, the service industries and all. Someone pays someone higher, and you go over there. But the key point of staff retention is put aside the cash aside, fair salary, and a vision in the company of growth. The talent these days, I mentioned 5 generations. The last generations are not so bothered about cash. The last generations. And the last generations will outlive us, will be dead. So, the last generations are the ones...
Retired, not dead.
Yeah. The last generations are the ones that are going to build the future of the world, of the country. So these are the guys who looks more into vision, passion, making a change and stuff. So company-wise, changes might be done in that level, I feel, instead of going to a price war.
True. So MNC, bring it home first.
Okay, what I can say, under WEF mentioned that there will be a great resignation. Yeah, so people will leave the company. So the young generation that joined the last generation, so they look for passion, what they can do. So I mean what they can contribute. They want to be with the management. Yeah, so that's why, for example, like for us, we have a shadow management. So it means that these youngsters also tied along with the management. So at least we can hear the voice, yeah, from young generation. So actually this is part and parcel that how we engage the new promoted generation. And then another one is actually the existing staff you want to retain before they been poached or anything. So it means that, for example, every 6 months we have a check and balance. Means that how to say, we provide some retention, or maybe because as you know, after pandemic, people prefer to work from home. Yeah. So if the management still keep informed, you must come to the office and do this, then the great resignation will be happening. But now what happened is actually there's a hybrid work, you know what I mean, that this is how we support the existing staff. So in that perspective, we hope that we will not be poached by anybody, or maybe they leave the company. So I mean that retention is actually quite important now lah. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe now you already used to work 2 years from home, yeah, and then that is actually a good balanced work life. So if the company cannot support this, and then we'll be in trouble. I mean, that's my key tip for this
That's
message.
true.
Thank you.
That's true. So that means that for bosses, focus on creating a work culture. But for young people, students, if you're here, look not just at the salary that's being offered, look at the culture, the impact that the company is creating, and what possibly you can do in the company to create that impact. Look at career pathing, right? Do you see growth is possible in the company? So I think, yes, we're pressed for time. I was going to give each one of you 1 minute to give a final message. Each one get 1 sentence lah. Start with you.
Yeah, I think in terms of ensuring that you have a sustainable Industry 4.0 transformation, because it is a journey, right? Focus on people. They are your assets. They are the ones to take you to the next step and further and beyond as well. Thank you.
Okay, so for me, what I can say in terms of a company-wide, I believe readiness assessment is required, because it will look into people, technology, and operation. Yeah, the process. So actually, I like to promote this because you know where is your pain point. So either in people, or in the technology, or maybe in the process. So I think from this RA, or readiness assessment, will help you to catapult. Okay, I think that's from me.
From me, I think most important here is to, I hope after these sharing sections, may want to consider to sit down with the HR again and relook about the training plan that you have. Maybe try to be more creative in it, especially the areas that are bring up by Datin. So maybe if you feel like, hey, I think we lack of some of this area here, I think these slides that have shown here is something that we can look at on improving our training assessment to our team. Thank you.
Hi, I think the most key point I feel from the whole thing is create an ecosystem on your own, where the big companies, the medium companies, the small companies, the state level agencies, federal level agencies, the universities, all come together, create an ecosystem that Penang, create an ecosystem in Pahang or other countries as well, other states as well, connect it all together, make sure you protect your talent from Singaporean companies. Very important. And find a way to work together. That's the only way you're going to retain the talent and grow Malaysia.
So if I'm hearing right, people first, then only technology, right? So a big round of applause for all our speakers. Very insightful. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And with that, we conclude the session. Back to you.
Thank you, Datin Lorela, Wenjan, Amiruddin, Sue, and of course, ST Ruvaneswaran. I can say proudly that my staff out there, Miss Penny Tan, has been with us for 10 years. So staff retention is key here. Mr. Fong is very proud that we can actually retain our staff for that long, okay? Being in events is not easy, so the fact that she's still with us is a testament to our way of actually retaining our staff. We give them enough, including design thinking, which then leads us to our breakout sessions later after lunch. We have design thinking, we have investment in the digital economy, as well as something on drones. I believe, Drone Academy is here, and he's going to do a live demo afterwards. But Without further ado, I'll invite Darren up again so that he can say our thank yous and invite you guys out for lunch on level 4.
Thank you, Lynn. So I'll keep this very short because I know I'm standing in between of you and your lunch, so that's never a good thing. I would like to sincerely thank everybody, our distinguished speakers and guests for attending this session today. We will be continuing this conversation at ITAP 2022 in Singapore, 18th to 20th October. So that's my last speech to you guys. If you are a company looking to exhibit, network with not only companies or individuals in Singapore, but really internationally and regionally, or even just looking to attend, feel free to reach out to us. Myself, my staff, Miss Calista Goh and Miss Emily Chua will be here the whole day. So I won't hold you all back for lunch. I see you all in Singapore in October. Thank you. Thank you all for attending. And sorry, I forget to mention the most important thing. Lunch is served on level 4, so we can make your way up to level 4. And I would like to invite the speakers and guests to join me at the VIP table upstairs. Thank you.